fellow rude dudes, who's-its, and proper logical fam. My name is Joey Zero, and welcome to your Introductory K-Drive course. I'll be your guide as we explore some of the illest right terminal tricks you Sparky Poppers are ever gonna grind.
Okay, hold it. Stop the tape. Have I convinced you that I am a fellow vent child yet? Okay, so this video is going to be less of a nitty-gritty and more of an overview at the vent kit and the K-Drive systems in Warframe's newest update, Fortuna. We may discuss builds and mod specifics a little bit later, but before we get into that, I just want to give a big thanks to Digital Extremes for sponsoring this video and for giving me the opportunity to take a look at the gear and the mods and everything firsthand so that I can bring all this to you guys. Okay, taking it slow, here we go. Alright, once you finish the intro quest in Fortuna, you'll get a board on loan from one of the vent kits. It's enough to start practicing with and get familiar with the K-Drive system, but if you want a proper glinty planker, you'll need a proper glinty plank. And you want a proper glinty plank to Klokkit something wicked sick. Okay, I'll stop. You'll want to head to Rocky to get started. To do that, you can find the vent kit's hideout on the second level of Fortuna. Just look for the vent grate with the graffiti, and you're in. Once you talk to Rocky, you can start working on your standing and picking up board parts, grab some mods, or pick up the daily special. Once you have some parts crafted, you can bang together a board right there. And, just a side note, you have to purchase a board with plat if you want to name it. Now, these boards don't need to be gilded. You start earning mastery immediately once you start tricking with a proper wicked plank. I'm sorry, I can't stop. If you want to get a look at the components yourself, you can preview them in the Assemble K-Drive screen, but here's a quick look at what they have to offer. For the boards, we have the Needle Nose, the Flat Belly, and the Bad Baby. The reactor is the bit on the back, and we've got the Arc 12, the Cold Fuser, and the Hothead. The nose is the bit on the front, and we've got Beaky, the Dinkadonk, and the Wingnut. And finally, for the jets, which are the propulsion system on the back, you've got the Fat Boys, the Twin Cavats, and the Step 10s. Now, each of your design choices here are purely cosmetic. They don't cause any stat changes in the end result, so you're free to pick just whatever you think looks best. And mastery on these is going to be tied to the reactor, so if you're on the hunt for MR, you want to make sure you build at least one of each. And, of course, to level the boards and to get mastery, you gain affinity with the board by landing tricks. We're going to talk more about that later, but I just want to point out really quick that you can forma the board, and you can even add a focus lens if you want to. So, there you go. Now remember how I said board choices don't affect your stats? Well, the mods do. So we're going to take a quick look at that. Again, we won't be diving into stats or build specifics here because these things may change, but here's what we've got. First up, we have Mag Locks, which increases K-Drive grind magnetism. I can tell you firsthand, this does help you land those grinds quite a bit easier, which makes for easier trick chaining. Rail Guards increases your K-Drive grind speed. Airtime reduces gravity while falling, meaning that you're airborne for longer periods of time and you can pull off more tricks in the air. Trailblazer is a mod that leaves a trail of fire inflicting heat damage to enemies. It also makes you look like a proper professional popper, so bonus points for fashion on this one. Venerdo Hover Drive increases K-Drive jump height, and this one's another one that can help you pull off much better tricks. Inertia Dampeners adds a point multiplier to your trick score, which is really useful for grinding XP faster, especially if you just prefer, passive grinding for standing. Then we have Kinetic Friction, which with this mod, grinding will build up a charge that is released when landing the trick, dealing electric damage to enemies within range. It also adds some more wicked glinty visuals to the grind, so again, bonus points for fashion there. And then Slayboard, where if you do a directional dismount, the board is launched, dealing damage and pinning or slicing enemies. We're going to talk more about dismounts later as well. Extreme Velocity, this one is just a flat boost to your K-Drive speed. We have Nitro Boost, which adds some speed to your K-Drive boosting. Then there's Sonic Boost, which adds some CC to your boosting by creating a shockwave at a consistent interval while you have boost active, kind of stunning enemies within range. And then Thrash Landing, which does an explosion whenever you land a trick, dealing a percentage of trick score in blast damage to nearby enemies. Now again, I'm not going to go into build specifics here, but for the build that I pretty much use, I went with mostly function that I could use for higher trick scores and filled the rest with fashion mods, because Glinty is a radical proper muck and shiny, you hear? Now, once you have a board, you can equip it and customize it in your arsenal screen. You'll want to go to Select Mode, vehicles, and then it's just at the bottom there. You can change your colors as usual, and you can add a scroll that displays at the bottom of your board, which you can resize and move around a bit here and there. These feature artwork from the vent kids themselves, and you can pick them up in bundles from the market. You'll want to look for the Kubrodon Series 1 and 2 or the Pobbers Series 1 and 2. Fun little note, your artwork here is also displayed whenever you land a trick, so, you know, just keep that in mind. Pick something that you're is gonna make you, like, excited when you land a trick. Like, oh yeah, I landed, woo, yeah. Okay, now for the fun part of the overview, let's talk about the tricks. First up, to boost, you'll want to use your sprint key. As you might expect, this will give you a boost of speed on your K-Drive. Your jump button is also used to jump with your K-Drive. You can tap it for a quick jump, or you can hold it to charge up a jump and get some really massive air. Also, if you tap jump again while holding one of the directional buttons in air, you'll do an air spin, and the spin direction can change based on which directional button you're holding. Now, your fire button is going to be for the board grabs. This one also changes based on which directional button you're holding, and can be used to change up some of the other moves. Now, your aim button is your bread and butter for most of your tricks. Tapping it while holding a directional button results in a flip, and the flip changes based on which directional button you're holding, whether or not you're doing a board grab during the flip. Now this is where you've got to start being careful, because if you try to land in the middle of a trick, you can get knocked off the board pretty easily. Radical thrash, check. I'm actually having a lot of fun with anyway. Also, to dismount, that's going to be your melee button. If you're holding a directional button while you dismount, you're going to do a directional dismount, which sends your board flying, which is where that one mod that causes that to do damage comes in. Finally, you use your crouch button to grind. You can hold it in air to turn your board to prepare for a grind. And when you land, if you land on a grindable surface, you will begin to grind. While grinding, you can hold your fire button to do a board grab in the middle of the grind. Regardless, this is something you want to be getting used to, since grinding really seems to be how you string together long chains of tricks to get a high point multiplier and start landing those 3K tricks. For what it's worth, to start out with and get used to the system, I used the pipe right next to the entrance of Fortuna. I would just jump on it, start a grind, and while grinding, just focus on pulling off small jumps and small combos on repeat until I got the hang of landing those big, long combo chains. Once I got comfortable with that, I started doubling back on the same pipe until I could land those 3K combos easily. And then once I got comfortable with positioning over those large jumps, I started focusing on trying to maintain those combos moving from rail to rail. This is where K-driving around Fortuna really starts to get fun, in my opinion, because everything really kind of opens itself up. Anyway, you can practice and learn and stuff however you want, but I've gotten some questions about how I did it, so that's how I did it. Now, the race locations change each day, and there are a total of 22 of them, so they're gonna require a little bit of looking, but just keep an eye out for this icon right here, and when you find it, you can speak with Boone to begin a race.
Works like this. Hit the marker, the timer starts. Vapor trail, check. You bomb, and you're done.
Yeah, no, he's not kidding about that either. If you get thrown from the board, it ends the race, so, you know, just be careful.
Ha ha! Clocked it! Fish-looking null unit.
But wait, there's more! The real goal here is not just to race, but to do so in style. So the whole time you're racing, you want to be trying to rack up as many points as possible and still complete the track within the time limit. Currently, this is just something fun that you can do to push yourself in-game, but there is talk about maybe adding in the ability to gain standing from doing these races in the future, so, you know, just food for thought. Anyway, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this fun little guide. Again, I want to give a big thanks to DE for sponsoring this video and for just putting out such a cool update. Honestly, like, and also I want to give thanks to you guys for being here and watching this, and I've had a lot of fun making this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys leave a like, comment, sub button, bell, Discord, Twitch, Twitter, links in the description. We should totally hang out sometime. My name's Joey Zero. Okay, bye.